It was the perfect autumn day at arena number 3. From the bird's eye view, the skies were blue, the air was thin, and I was waiting anxiously for my enemy to reveal himself to me. Then it was announced. It was none other than the malicious vigilantes that goes by the name of Superquench. Superquench attacked immediately, dropping a clan of barbarians to my left. No problem, because I had this cannon. There were no match for this cannon. However, they were just a decoy, for the main threat was rising on the east. Naturally, I deployed my army of skeletons, but it was already too late. Superquench came blazing through my army, eventually knocking down my first tower. 2 minutes in, and my kings took severe damage. I kid you not, this is not a good situation to be in. However, I had one last card, a godsend, a baby dragon, that could turn this match around, when suddenly my phone goes bzzz and dies. Now, at first, I was furious because I had a winning strike, and I just gave this match away over technicalities. But what's even worse, that I looked at the time, and it was 2:15 a.m. Apparently, I've been playing this game for over an hour and a half straight. Afterwards, I couldn't sleep, because every time I closed my eyes, I kept on seeing those little troops storming on Superquench's castle endlessly. If this story sounds unhealthy to you, well, that's because it is. My name is Dori Adar. I'm a game designer and a product designer, and I have an unhealthy relationship with a game that slowly but surely crept over my life and over this deck a little bit. So sorry about that. But I think there's not anything to be ashamed of, because we all have relationships with our apps. We share our lives with some. With others, we goof around. There are applications that we share our most intimate moments with, and I mean the toilet. And some applications, they will be there for us after a long day at work, and they would never judge. And sometimes we feel that we found our true, real love, only to completely deny it in 3 weeks' time. So, I should look at this, sometime, because sometimes this is not really correlated with what I'm speaking. So this is the 4-step plan of marrying a user. That's what I'm going to talk about today. And in your pamphlets, it's written 5 steps, but don't worry, I figured it out, and it's only 4 right now, so good for you. So, marrying a user. Marrying a user starts off with, of course, the first date. And okay, PowerPoint animation. The first date is a true make or break, like Shai said. Lose the user there and you've lost them forever. So the application would have a very limited time to show magic to the user, or else off the window. The second step is the pursuit, because never expect users to come back to your app voluntarily. I mean, you really have to call after the first date, and you better have some good excuses for this call. If those 2 steps proved successful, we would then continue to the going steady phase, in which no more calls or excuses are needed, and users would just go in voluntarily to the application on a daily, sometimes in hourly basis. And of course, after going steady for a while, the application would naturally ask the user to meet their friends, and then I'm talking about going social. So we will touch a little bit, about every one of those topics. We will talk a little bit about them. And now, before we just go on and dive in, let's go together for this journey, for this quest for love, that starts in a very magical place called the App Store. And I see the App Store like a giant dating ring with hundreds of thousands of apps where their best icons and thumbnails and marketing text, all shouting, pick me, pick me, pick me. And somehow, by user acquisition or promotion or mere luck, someone somewhere picked your application, and as we speak, it's doing its way to his or her phone. And the application greatest moment is about to begin, the first date. So, what happens, and if you've been paying attention, what happens when an app and a human meet? That's right, the onboarding, the tedious onboarding phase. So during the onboarding, the app has to prove magical to the user, and this is going to be harder and harder. This is getting harder and harder. That's because we, and when I say we, I mean humanity, we are becoming terrible people. This is an underlying theme here in this convention, right? We have become so impatient that even the slightest learning curve just frightens us, just scares us away. I am an Android person, so I get it a lot whenever I pass over my phone to iPhone people, and they would be like, I cannot use this. How do you answer a call? This is like unusable. I mean, the best minds in the planet was working on my Android phone, but you cannot use it, right? So here is the first challenge of an onboarding process. Users are terribly impatient, and they will do everything they can to skip the onboarding altogether. So as designers, you might say, okay, let them skip it, but this is not a good practice. I see a user, a new user, that just came to an application. They're just like a newborn sea turtle, okay? You just have now to do the walk from the shore to the sea, and our instincts as animal lovers would be to take the turtle and just put it in the water. But the turtle has to walk the walk in order to get the strength needed to survive in the sea, right? So here's a challenge, how to make the tortoise walk the onboarding walk. Answer, show it magic, and I'm going to show you some magical examples of exactly this. So you probably know the app called Masquerade. It's been all the rage lately, been acquired by Facebook. So this is how it starts. The first screen of the app looks like this. 1 second later, boom, you look like a goddamn monkey. Now this is magic right there. This is David Blaine stuff. No tutorials, no tooltips. Just stick your head where it belongs to. Look like a monkey. Thank you very much. TTM, which is time to magic, 1 second. Let me give you another magical example of another magical app that has been around for 13 years. And when it first came out, it was magical, and it still is magical. This is Shazam, right? You launch Shazam, it listens to whatever sounds you're hearing, and then it recognizes them. This is magic. Time to magic in Shazam is 10 seconds. By now, you may have an understanding of what I mean when I talk about magic, because magic is not something that can be talked about. It's not something that can be explained. Magic has to be experienced firsthand. So what happens if I have an application that is not as magical as Shazam or Masquerade, but we still want people to feel the magic? Let's say we have an education app. Let's say it is called Duolingo. So Duolingo teaches languages for free forever. This is a great selling point. So this is the first screen, and I continue. I choose the language. I chose German, and then they teach you the ropes of how to use the app, right? So they say, hover these words to see their translation, and I do that, and then I'm posed with a question. Translate this sentence to German. So I'm doing as I'm told. I'm hovering across the words in English, and I'm writing my first words in German, and I tap the check button, and hey, I was correct. And this is magical because 60 seconds ago, I didn't know I could write in German. So this is a very good example of onboarding. So your key takeaway from this step is, how can you reduce time to magic to the minimum possible? With this in mind, let's continue to the second step, which is the pursuit. All right. So, nobody expects users to come involuntarily back to the app. You should call. After the first date, don't be shy, call, but don't beg. Hey, come back, we need your brains. Come back and play. This is how I imagine it sounds like, this application. This is needy. This screams, I'm lonely. Don't do that. There are better practices. Let's go back to Duolingo's onboarding. And, ooh, no. And, right, so right after I magically found out that I can write in German, Duolingo asks me to choose a daily goal. And they would say, okay, would you like to train regularly? That's 10 minutes a day, or maybe more serious, that's 15. And notice I cannot skip this stage. I have to choose something. So tomorrow, when Duolingo calls, I do this, but it's not really this. It's like push notification. So when Duolingo calls and say, hey, it's your time for your 10 minutes, I might comply because I said I would. You know, I don't want to contradict myself. So this is interesting, and I want to give you another food for thought here. This is a mechanic that I call the delayed feedback mechanic, and it's being used right here in UX Salon as well. What is the delayed mechanic? What is the delayed feedback mechanic? Excuse me. This is Clash Royale, the app that I'm addicted to. And whenever you win matches on Clash Royale, you get a special treasure chest. And then you tap to open it, only to find out that you have to wait. Now, 15 seconds at first. 15 seconds is not a lot of time. It's not a lot of waiting period, but still it is a waiting period. So in case that I got distracted somehow, I got a phone call, I had to go, Clash Royale would call me and say, hey, buddy, wooden chest unlocked. And I'll be, wow! Of course I want to see what's inside the wooden chest. This is like the, how do you call it, Avi? The magical box? What do you have here? Mystery box. The mystery box. And he's like, you should be here up until 3, because we are opening the mystery box at 3. So this is a good retention mechanic, right? Avi is a smart guy. So thing here is this. You give the user something, and then you say, you cannot open it right now. I'll call you when it's ready. So it's 15 seconds at start, and then as relationship shifts from the pursuit phase to the going steady phase, time increments would grow. And this is how a normal dashboard looks like on Clash Royale. I would log in every 3 hours, tap on the silver chest, and then just before I go to sleep, I tap on the golden chest, and then I have it ready by morning. This is how Clash Royale incorporates itself into my routine. And with this in mind, let's go to step 3, the going steady phase. All right, I said I would not dance. Don't make me dance. Okay, going steady, as said, is a shift in relationship because no excuses are now needed. Users would, as again said in this convention, are very habit-based creatures, and they would have the habit of logging in. To allow that, apps and games have to have a very strong core app loop or core game loop. And I'm going to pick under the hood of 2 examples. Clash Royale is one, and Tinder, my favorite dating app, is the other, and see how they work users in their core game loop. So whenever I log in to Clash Royale, the first thing I do is open the chest. The chest that I won long ago, hours ago, last night. And this is always a fun thing because it's a mystery, it's a surprise. I want to know what's inside, so I start off with a good note. Then I proceed to whatever things I'm doing in the application. In Clash Royale, I'm fighting people. I might lose a few matches, I might win a few matches, and I will win a few treasure chests. And then I will have to wait, so I leave the application only to come back again and open the chest, do some fightings, get some more chests, wait. Okay, so that's a core loop. This is also known as a feedback loop because it keeps on feeding itself. Now let's take a look at Tinder. Tinder is a dating application where users see pictures of other people and they swipe left to pass or right to like, and if both parties liked each other, well, it is a match, and a typical Tinder session would start off with it's a match. So this is another surprising element. I start the session with a good note because I want to see with whom I got matches with, and then I would proceed to whatever I'm doing in the app, which is swiping left and swiping right, and those right swipes over time would come back to me as new messages and new matches. So this is, again, another self-feeding loop. To me, these 2 loops are identical. And I want to stress out one point, and this is the key takeaway for you. The way we start. Both applications start off with a surprising thing, something that, it tickles my curiosity, something that further wires the notion that checking into the app is a good thing. This is 101 behaviorism on users. And whenever I look around these days on other products, I see this coming. There's a lot of emphasis right now on how sessions start. And if you want another example, look no further than Facebook. They have this on this day feature when you log into Facebook and then you are reminded how you were this day years ago. They had the start of session in mind, okay? They said, how can we even delight more our users as if they need, more delightful things? So this is something for you to take away. The start of the session is crucial. How can you surprise your users with nice and delightful things? And now, after we've been hanging out with users for quite some time, we've been going out steady, application would ask users to meet the friend. So this is the last step in this presentation, and this is actually a huge topic. I'm going to focus on one single thing, some mechanic that I believe that can be imported from games to non-games app, especially non-social applications. So in online gaming, there's a very prominent feature of playing together with people. This is called cooperative play. Some people gather around, be it in guilds or clans, and they work together towards a specific common goal. And I love this mechanic because it really, it becomes a very true and good social let's say, measures or mechanics. I really feel immersed playing with other people. And this can be used in other products. I want to give you one example of an application that I love, which is Headspace. Headspace is a meditation app. By no means a native social app. But they have this feature tucked inside called the Buddies feature, when I can invite friends to meditate with me, and we can track each other's progress. Right? And we can encourage each other to work more. And this is beautiful. This specific feature is not fully realized. I mean, the rewards are not aligned as right, but this is a shot in the right direction. And here's some food for thought for you. How can you incorporate cooperative play in your apps to have engagement like ever before? So let me do a little closure. This has been quite an exhaustive talk. I touched many, many subjects, and I think that in 2 weeks' time, you will completely forget everything I just told you. So if there's one thing I'd like you to remember, is this: play games. Why? Because if you are interested in the interactive products, if you are product designers or UX designers, there are plenty of ideas there that you can take and maybe use in your products, and it's fun. And while you are playing, try to analyze why you are having fun, what is working on you, what is annoying you. This is a great source for inspiration, but beware, while playing, don't fall in love with the wrong application. And I want to finish this talk with a quote from a famous game designer that I love called Jess Shell. And Jess Shell is saying that one cannot just quit casual games, a casual game. One would have to divorce a casual game. And this is true. I mean, think about you leaving Facebook. So many explanations that you'll have to do. Everybody will be like, Becca, why? You always seem so happy together, right? So this is tiresome. But I've decided something. And I also have a phone call, by the way. I have decided something. I'm going to divorce Clash Royale right now. And, okay, you can't see it, but the icons are now shaking in fear. You know this feature? They're like, ah! But Clash Royale, you and I are finished. Thank you very much.